classes and play dates.
Nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. face hunger. That's 1 in 6. School lunch might be their only meal each day, and it's heartbreaking to imagine any child going to bed hungry. We're dreaming of a perfect day when kids can smile, play, and just be kids without worrying about where their next meal will come from. Feeding America is working to make that perfect day a reality.
Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. That food is given to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about doing things that make an ordinary day extraordinary. Learning to play an instrument, building a sandcastle, hosting tea parties. Hunger should never be an obstacle to growing up.
You can help end childhood hunger in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Elena had another asthma attack. She's really sad to miss school again.
Asthma can be triggered by allergens from common pests.
I just can't shake this fever.
Mosquito bites can cause West Nile and Zika virus infections.
Sorry, boss. I'm going to be out of work for a while.
The CDC estimates that more than 300,000 Lyme disease cases spread by ticks occur in the U.S. each year. Don't let pests force you to take a sick day. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the CDC.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe, Paulette FC, ESPN Northwest Florida. Welcome to the house. It's time for the Afternoon Underdogs.
It's happening.
Wow.
It's on right now.
Opinionated and unfiltered. The hot takes, the rants, and the sports talk you crave.
Give it to me.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are live. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida. It's 104.3 in Panama City, 102.1 in Mariana, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. ESPN Northwest Florida's got the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, got Caveman Rick, Boston Tim's in the building, and we've got Bone Crusher on the ones and twos. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Friday afternoon. Hope you all stayed safe yesterday during the hailstorms, the tornadoes. There was a fellow who got struck by lightning out there on the pier. Very just odd weather. I saw a lot of people that's been in this area for a long time say that they've never seen that much hail here in Panama City. And there's no blame to be placed on this, but every time Spiders comes to town, which is a great tournament, if you love softball, you should definitely get involved with the Spiders tournaments. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just type in Spiders into your Facebook search bar and you'll find out. But every time they come, and I've been a part of the last two tournaments, weather is right behind it, man. It's like they bring it in from Wisconsin or something. But anyways,
it's that Midwest weather they bring with them every single time.
Or they're scheduling it at the same time. If it's the same about weekend every year, you know, like a lot of times you kind of have those things. When I was a kid, it always seemed like the first weekend of Little League, it was always bad weather. We always playing in rain if we even got to play on the first weekend.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt. But I don't think that it's been in the exact, I know it's been in the month of April, but I think that each year they've kind of pushed it back, hoping to kind of stay away from the weather. But, it's Florida. Good luck.
Right.
Good luck.
You
And they schedule it. Yeah, exactly. And they schedule it a year out. But hopefully everyone, at the Spiders tournaments, staying safe and having fun. And everyone in Panama City, hope everyone fared through the storm as well as they possibly could yesterday. That was absolutely wild. In other news, the NFL draft it wasn't even the biggest piece of the news yesterday, although very, very entertaining. But much like the color shirt that Boston Tim is wearing, Lamar Jackson will continue to wear the shade of purple, and he will be a Baltimore Raven in 2023. Are we surprised? Are you surprised, Boston Tim, that they got this deal done ahead of the season? Are you surprised that he's going to be a Raven in 2023?
I'm not surprised. I think he showed and said that he wanted to be a Raven. He proved himself on the field. He just needed the front of the house to realize what he provided for them and what he still can provide for them. Of course, the news makes it out probably more than it should be, especially with him representing himself and bringing his mother in there as his manager and things like that. But sound mind, sound body, and sound decision. And he's just going to do what he had to do and wait as long as he had to wait until they realized what was the best decision for them. And they had to make that for them before the draft. And I think that's why they finally did both, if you will, kind of caved in a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. It was more of a kind of a compromise in a sense. And you do have to give kudos to Lamar and his mom when everyone was throwing at him. Look at Jalen Hurts. Look at his agent. Maybe you should have went in that direction, only for Lamar to get the deal. Maybe not exactly what he wanted, but closer to what he wanted. And I think that Jalen Hurts getting that deal done was it was more of a help to Lamar Jackson, I think, than it hurt Lamar Jackson's chances of staying with the Ravens in 2023.
Yeah, I think the deal with Jalen Hurts was like an alarm bell, kind of waking him up. But I am a little surprised. Lamar Jackson, we've seen in the past, when everybody was telling him he should be a running back or he should be like moving on to play wide receiver, some other non-quarterback position, he got dug in the trenches. No, I'm a quarterback. This is the position I'm playing. And if you want to draft me, this is what I'm going to play or I'm not going to play. And I thought he dug himself into the trenches again, saying no, he just wanted a guaranteed contract. And him being a man of his word before, in the past, I kind of thought he was actually going to sit out this year and not play and be a man of his word again. So I am kind of surprised he caved.
Is it caving though?
It is when you made those statements that he's made over the course of the last year and a half. I say it is, but I'm not knocking him because he had to, because call it collusion, non-collusion, whatever. He wasn't going to get the deal he was looking for.
No
Let's
doubt.
just be frank about it. So if he wanted to get the bag and he wanted to continue playing ball, he was going to have to do this, unfortunately.
I think a number of things happened, right? We see from one perspective, like you're saying, he sees that Watson got that initial deal, right, of the 100% guaranteed. Then you see what Hurts does and takes a smarter deal that's not only beneficial for him but also his team and still gets a substantial guarantee. While in the same time, after seeing the 100% guarantee, we saw the performance from Watson. And we know that if Lamar were to take that year off, there's no guarantee he's going to come back MVP caliber, right? So all in all, I think cumulatively, it made him come to the decision that now's the time.
And I'm glad that I'm glad that it works out like this.
It's good for the league, too.
It's good for the league. It's good for the Ravens. It's good for Lamar. It's really good for the Ravens because now you didn't just and signing OBJ is not a waste. But if you don't know who that quarterback is, I'm saying in the terms of the grand overall scheme of things.
It's not that it's a waste. The amount of money that they're paying him is
ridiculous, but what I'm getting at is you're going to get more. 1,000% agree there. But OBJ more dangerous with Lamar Jackson than who knows who the quarterback's going to be, I guess is where I'm getting at.
And now you had Zay Flowers.
Yeah, Zay
after
Flowers,
last
Boston
night.
College.
Boston College was the first wide receiver drafted out of there since like 87 or something, I heard.
Yes.
That's just crazy.
And probably the best wide receiver we've had since 87, and justifiably so.
Right.
So we'll see what happens, though. Once you get to the next level, it's a different game.
Oh, absolutely.
But as far as the OBJ goes, excuse me, it's the same concept as Watson. You know, how many games has he played in the last 2 years?
But Lamar's kind of in that boat as well.
6.
When you get into the way less. Didn't play at all last year. The whole debacle
before.
with the Browns, all of that stuff, and then gets hurt in the Super Bowl, which that's a tough one.
You sit out long enough.
Yeah. But I really do like it for the Ravens overall, and for the league too, because it didn't totally reset the quarterback market, but we know for at least a year or two that 230 is not the status quo. 230 million, and Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, even though the next deal is always going to be the market.
Yeah, when
setter.
Burrow or Herbert gets done, they're going to be the next highest.
Exactly, but for me, it was kind of weird seeing Deshaun Watson, who had a pretty good, talented Houston Texans team and never really formulated. Yes, they got to the playoffs, but they never made deep runs, and his record as a starter in Houston was 28-26. So it's like, why is this guy who's in trouble? Well,
look at who gave him the deal.
He had alligator. I'm not right.
And their track record throughout history. So that's
right on with you. I'm just saying that that was a way bigger surprise to me was Deshaun Watson getting that money, and maybe he shouldn't have been the front runner. But like you said, it does go directly back to who was giving the deals out. So love this. I love this for football. And it also, is this collusion or is this conspiracy theory? It absolutely is. There's no fact to this. But could the NFL have maybe put a little, line into the Ravens and Lamar Jacksons and into the Packers and Jets and Aaron Rodgers and been like, guys, if you can just drag these storylines out till we get close to the draft or after the draft or right there at the draft, then we are, we're king as it is already, but we're not losing anything. Do I believe that happened? I don't know, but
they did us all a favor by getting this done now by the draft.
Right, so because now we're talking about the actual players who were drafted, how they fit, all of that.
After this draft, talking again, is Aaron Rodgers going to sign with the Jets? Is Lamar ever going to get a deal done with the Ravens? Now we can, like you said, move on, talk about these new guys that are in the league and talk about their starts of their careers or what like teams like the Texans are doing and the ball that they've gotten rolling, and if they can continue what they got going on there. Man, that team might be pretty good here in a little while.
Did the Eagles draft so good that Caveman Rick is now just like rising above and becoming a complete professional instead of being like, look at the Eagles draft
here.
He represents it. I love it.
If you were watching TV today, I mean, I don't need to boast. Everybody else is doing it for me on TV.
Pretty simple.
So
that's
I mean, you had Micah
right
Parsons last night throwing a fit. I saw Marcus Spears today on ESPN having a problem with the fact that Dallas is kind of sitting idly by, just getting like maybe a number 2 wide receiver, just recently before the draft, and not doing a whole lot, and here the Eagles are, reloading again, and now it's like, I mean, who's playing for second place in the NFC East?
That's right.
That is a good point, and we'll talk about who we thought won the draft last night. But first, I got a comment here from Tyler Bishop, who said, Tyler Bishop says, Caveman, are you a UGA fan, a Georgia Bulldog fan yet? And then I said, the real question is, so what is the real question?
Hey, okay. We haven't seen the UGA crowd that we've got now, which is probably the 4 best players that they've had off of that championship team 2 years ago. We probably just got all 4 of the best ones on there. So, I mean, that's just awesome. They got to come through, though. I mean, we did a great job bringing them in, but they got to prove it on the field now, So, yes, I'm a Georgia fan in the sense that, we're building something and we're getting these boys. That's what I'm screaming. As long as that defense is killer. But again, Tyler Bishop, man, you start wearing some Eagles gear, buddy. We'll both do it.
Yeah, there you go. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 in Panama City, 102.1 in Marietta, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Boston Tim, where does this leave Joe Burrow now? What kind of a jump is he going to get, or what kind of a market reset will we get when Joe Burrow gets his deal done with the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't necessarily say market reset, but I would say it's probably going to be the next
market jumper,
$300 million contract. Most likely, he's very young, he's staying healthy, and he's absolutely proving himself on the field. Mm-hmm. And as long as if they can make a contract like that and still keep the guys around him that he has, they're going to be dangerous, just like Philadelphia.
Who won the draft in your opinion?
I mean, obviously, I think Philadelphia won the draft, right? I mean, you saw some big mistakes with Atlanta, really jumping the gun.
You don't like the pick that Atlanta made with Bijan Robinson.
I think it's good with Arthur Smith. I mean, you got a running, coach, a history of running the ball. Now you get teamed up with Cordell Patterson. What's going to be a good help for Desmond Ridder is a running game. A young up and coming quarterback, hopefully. So I think them doing that. I think it'll take a lot of pressure off the quarterback and help him out.
Explain your side.
I thought for sure that after Rodgers made his deal and then Lamar makes his deal and we're coming up to the minutes before the draft, I'm like, for sure, right? We're going to see it's been 43 days. Come on, come out of retirement, Brady. Atlanta needs you. You know what I'm saying? You can still kind of keep your house in Florida, travel back and forth.
Yeah.
Don't fly a helicopter, take a jet. I just thought for sure he was going to come out and go with one of the lower level teams and build them up, and that was the biggest surprise for me in the draft, that he did not.
Really?
Yeah, I thought Brady was coming out again. Absolutely. Yeah.
I would not have expected that you thought that. We talked about this a little bit ago. I don't think that he will, but I want him to. Not even if he waits till week 8 or 9 of the season, or just before the trade deadline, which has nothing to do with a free agent.
He comes in like OBJ and just signs with somebody the last week of the season, and
then tears his ACL in the Super Bowl,
plays all the way to the Super Bowl, and then retires with it.
I'm really just surprised there was no big players moved. Like, last year we had AJ Brown. So there wasn't that big move yet. Maybe we'll see something today.
So
tonight,
for me, the winner was, and it's hard not to say the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'll pick a different one because I love what Houston did. Now, we don't know if C.J. Stroud is going to if he'll fulfill what the expectations are, but we do know that they're trying. So they take C.J. Stroud right after Bryce Young, and then they stay on the clock and trade up, and then they grab what they believe to be the best defender, or at least the best edge rusher in the draft, in Will Anderson. And I thought that, hey, if you're a Texans fan, if you're a Houston Texan football player, you know that they are going in a direction, or at least trying to go in the direction that is going to create a winning
if you're a
franchise.
Dallas Cowboy fan, maybe you want to flip an AO and then go over to Houston.
Oh, man. For the Tennessee Titans, from my perspective, I texted my dad right before the draft, and I was like, if they take any quarterback, I don't care who it is, if they take him with that first pick, that to me signifies that it is officially a rebuild. They're going to do something with Ryan Tannehill. Derrick Henry's going to move either before or during the draft. I really did.
So too.
But once they
especially
went
after that move up.
Yeah. But once they got Skoronski, that's where I was like, okay, all right. I do think that they're at least going to go into the season with the expectations that they're going to go for it. Now, where will that land them? I don't know. How did you feel about the New England Patriots with Christian Gonzalez? That's a pretty big pickup.
That was awesome.
I mean, that's very, very Belichick, right?
Yeah.
You slide back, you open up more space for availability to pick up more guys, and you still grab a solid, probably the best cornerback, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Well, you got Devin Witherspoon, who went 5 overall, I believe, to Seattle. But you also have Christian Gonzalez. There was more hype on Gonzalez, but I mean, you got to think for a cornerback to go top 5 out of Illinois, he had to be a dog.
It's surprising, and I think either of them are going to fit in great in either of those teams. If it would have been a swap, they both would be great because of the coaching that they're going to be able to go to. So I think it's going to be great.
I think it's great for the Patriots.
I think it's a solid pick for us. To trade back and still get him.
That's like the one position Belichick knows how to draft. I mean, going all the way back to guys like Ty Law, that's one position that that if you guys get
Stephon
somebody,
Gilmore.
Be okay.
It's a long list.
I mean, a pretty smart move, I think.
Yeah, the McCourty Gronk draft.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the other things, too, that I think is getting lost on people, because now Aaron Rodgers goes into the AFC East, and we're talking about the AFC East this year, as last year, this time we were talking about the AFC West.
Right.
And so the Patriots are kind of getting lost in the shuffle. But here's the thing. Last year, the offensive coordinator was Matt Patricia, who's a defensive guy.
He's with the Eagles now.
Well, that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying that now they bring in Bill O'Brien, who has ties with Mac Jones at Alabama. I just think that the verdict is not out on the New England Patriots.
No, absolutely not. The big question is always the question that we've had since Brady's gone.
Yeah.
Is, can Mac step up or somebody else? Is it going to be a Zappe? Or are we going to bring somebody else in? There's still a lot of draft to go.
I don't think it's even that. I think it's also, can Belichick adapt, and can he kind of change with the way the league's going now? I think he's been a little stubborn and not wanting to, and I think that's added to some of their woes over the last couple years. And now maybe if he kind of understands that, hey, he can't be the same guy he was, with a different quarterback, not having Tom Brady and whatnot.
I just think that that's a huge credit to, and I'm not taking anything away from Bill Belichick, but it's a huge credit to Tom Brady, because to replace a Hall of Famer means you're going to need to, you're going to go through some type of troubles. Whereas you look at Seattle last year, they replaced Russell Wilson and didn't skip a beat. In fact, finished better than the Russell Wilson-led team in the Denver Broncos. So that's a factor. Were you perplexed by any pick? Was there anything that you had a problem with? For me, and I didn't have a problem with it, but it did leave me scratching my head.
The Jets.
Well, for me, it was the Chicago Bears trading getting a 4th-round pick to not take Jalen Carter, essentially, and going with the defensive tackle right behind him, when, to me, the pedigree kind of lines up with Jalen Carter, or at least maybe not the pedigree, but the talent there from Jalen Carter would be the direction that I go. And that would have changed the whole outlook of the draft, because then is it Houston? Is it Seattle? Is Philly still up there? But, Philly did what they had to do to get Jalen Carter, pair him up with Jordan Davis, and now they're just freakishly the SEC almost. Of course, Georgia, the main factor on the defense, but you've got a litany of other SEC players on the offensive side of the ball.
No doubt. Like I was saying with the Jets, like you would think they're going to get Aaron Rodgers some more help. Just bringing him in. Defense wasn't, hasn't been your problem. I guess really offense hasn't been your problem. Breece Hall got hurt last year. You got some good wide receivers, but you would still think they'd probably go for another piece, tight end maybe or something like that. It's something else that Aaron Rodgers can utilize, and so that he doesn't have an excuse, say, next year if things don't go as well as they wanted to. Especially defensive line, I thought they're really solid there. Why would you go there anyways? But like I said, that was kind of a head scratcher for me.
What about for you? Any head scratchers?
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see Alabama's backup running back get drafted so early.
Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah.
Why would you say he was a backup?
I mean, it wasn't quite backup, but is he 58% of the time he ran the ball, something like that?
Oh, see, the thing with Jahmyr Gibbs, I think that
they used him as a dual threat more, right?
Right. He's one of those guys, and that was what people were so high on Bijan Robinson, is that he can line up in the slot and all of that stuff. Well, Jahmyr was out there a lot, and our offensive line just didn't have a good run game when it came to blocking there. So I think that's a big factor, but I'm as surprised as anyone else that Jahmyr Gibbs went 12.
It's just high.
Yeah.
Either of the running backs surprised me going that high.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're not capable players, excuse me, but as we know, the amount of money that gets paid to the guys in the draft typically isn't going to guys like running backs. They usually push them all the way back to the 30s and 40s in the draft selections, and not for any poor reason, but for the fact that they're just not a durable position, right? Yeah. They last the least amount of time of all of the positions in football.
And usually they're the most ready coming in.
Exactly. So why invest so much in someone that's going to come in already prepared, knowing that they might only, if you're lucky, get 2.5 to 3 seasons?
I agree with you, and I'm not looking at this through the Bama lens. If anything, for me, it would be like, well, I can see one thing here. One, and this is a great point that Barrett and some others have brought up, was that they just signed Ty Montgomery, right? So he's David Montgomery. So he's going to be there. You also have DeAndre Swift, who has more trade value. But to me, if you slide DeAndre Swift into the position that Jamal Williams was in last year, where Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery do the majority of the work, but then you get into the goal line and you've got a fresh, healthy DeAndre Swift who totes the rock and scores you 10-plus touchdowns in that season. I think that could work out great for him. Apparently, they really wanted Jahmyr Gibbs, so they did what they thought they had to do, because I can't remember the source, but they were saying that the Jets, and I don't know why in the world the Jets would be, that would make me want to slap myself in the face. Like, why would the Jets want to go? They've got Breece Hall, they've got Michael Carter. Why would you want to go and grab Jahmyr Gibbs, who's another running back that's kind of similar to, I'm not going to say better than, because Breece Hall's been in the league.
Unless
and
you're
look
worried
what he
about
was
durability
doing.
issues.
And and it goes right back to what he was saying. Why would you put all of that money? Why would you invest so much into a position that you're lucky when you get 4 years out of that thing?
No doubt.
Exactly.
And for a guy like Bijan Robinson, hear me out, Atlanta Falcons, I would think about him being the backup running back to Algier, and maybe even the third string, because you saw Derrick Henry's career has lasted to this point because he was behind DeMarco Murray when he came to the league.
Agreed.
That is why he got 2 years without being the lead back, and now everyone's, all the carries, all the mileage. I get all of that, but I think without him coming in and being the backup to DeMarco Murray, his career is already, and it is now, on the tail end, but I think it was on the tail end 2 years ago. We've got to run to a break. Boston Tim, you headed out?
Yes, just quick shout out if I can. We just opened up our second barbershop, Mr. Eddie's on the West End, so check us out at 19207 Panama City Beach Parkway, or Back Beach, and we'll be opening up a new salon Monday morning, which has been here for 34 years, Absolute Tops. We're not changing anything. We're just taking over the management, 8821 Front Beach Road. Check us out across from the zoo.
The Tops in the business. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back with the Real Fishing Report.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents
Wrestling Against Cancer, number 8.
Come see premier professional wrestling with the American Machine, Chief Little Bear, Mr. 850, and exciting women's wrestling with Raven Knight and T-Gang. This Saturday, Wrestling Against Cancer number 8.
Number 8.
At the Bay Haven Charter Academy in Panama City. Doors open at 5:30, bell time 6:30. Proceeds benefit Donna Duncan.
More information, ESPNPC.com.
Weather forecast for this afternoon. Clouds, showers, and thunderstorms expected. The high 75 to 80. More showers and thunderstorms overnight. Temperatures overnight about 67. Those showers and thunderstorms will stick around for the weekend. Highs generally in the 70s. Could be a severe thunderstorm through the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
The Real Fishing Report. It's expert insider information from Tim at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. What's biting? What bait to use? Where to cast? And now, the Real Fishing Report. On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. 3 fantastic frequencies, 104.3 in Panama City, 102.1 in Mariana, and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with Caveman Rick and Bone Crusher. In the second hour today, we're going to be talking some wrestling for Wrestling Against Cancer with Jack Patterson. But now it's time for the Real Fishing Report with Tim Braddock and Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. Tim, how's it going today?
Man, we're doing great. Cruising down Highway 98 right now, broadcasting from Studio HONDA, Honda.
There we go, Honda. Y'all need to cut us a check, man. So how's everything been going? How was the fishing last weekend? Let's start with that.
Yeah, so fishing last weekend was fantastic. We got great reports all the way around from several of our guys that do the guided services, and then our, folks coming in from out of town. Every one of them reported great fishing from the surf. So that was very positive news. And then we saw pretty decent weather throughout this week, minus the hailstorm that came through yesterday. And so that's kind of, allowed people to get out and fish quite a bit more. So we're seeing still a great bite from the surf, and that's all good signs. We have a couple captains that I've spoke with that kind of teamed up and did a sword fishing trip this past weekend. They were right at 80 miles out and did very well, catching a few swordfish as well. So great reports all the way around. It's a good time to get out and fish. And did anybody in studio? Did you guys happen to catch any fish this weekend?
Catch? No. Try to or go fishing? Yes. But I was on a paddleboard, and that was a little different. That was actually the first time that I'd fished on a paddleboard, and also I was in an area where I could see pretty much everything, and I didn't see anything swimming, right. So I didn't. So I didn't really keep going too. Probably about an hour or so, just killing some time there, enjoying the setting that I was in. But I wanted to ask you though, what are some of the tips to catching fish in water that you can see straight through, like be it bass fishing up at the springs or saltwater fishing at Camp Helen?
That's a fantastic question. We were actually sight fishing today. in the Chattahoochee Bay. I took Captain Justin Jones and 38 Sport Fishing and a couple of the employees from our shop. We went out, and the water was where we could, finally see. It wasn't muddy or murky. And so we were able to sight fish for a little bit. And obviously one of the most important things when you're fishing in clear water to begin with is you, at that point, you do need to be quiet, kind of creeping in. So on your paddleboard, that's a fantastic way to be able to get into some of these areas where the water is crystal clear, tends to be more shallow. So just be sure you don't fall off. That's obviously a key. And then also from there, it's a matter of what type of tackle you're using. We get asked a lot about, leader material that goes to the lure. So often we recommend using fluorocarbon leader. We're a big fan of the AFCO, Seiko, and then also there's a company, Florida Fishing Products, that makes a coral pink, which is also known as disappearing pink. The way the UV light hits it, the fish makes the leader line invisible to the fish site. So, again, number one is, make sure you're quiet and stealthy when coming in. And then secondly is make sure you have the right tackle on, leading up to your actual lure that you're fishing, whether that be live bait or whether that be some other fishing lure. So that's a great question. Then from there, I would also say make sure that you're when you're casting, people, if you're not sight fished or if you're casually fishing, you see a fish, almost natural reactions to throw the lure or the bait at the fish. And if you do that, oftentimes you'll spook it. So you want to throw it past the fish and tend to work it back towards wherever you are, whether you're on a paddleboard or a boat, or whether you're wading or even standing up on jetties. You want to throw kind of at a 45-degree angle and work that back in front of the way that fish is moving. So that's a great question. And, that sight fishing is something that's pretty exciting because you physically are seeing that fish.
Yeah, it's like hunting.
And you're just hoping. Yeah, it's a lot like hunting.
You definitely get that rush when you see that fish.
Yeah, that fish, you want that fish to take the bait. And we, ironically enough, I told you we went sight fishing this morning, and we saw one red and actually saw 3 tarpon in an area in a flat in the Chattahoochee Bay that typically, it's not known to see them there. So we saw the first one and, got a much better look when tarpon number 2 and 3 literally rolled through. So we saw them roll out the top of the water. And we're able to clearly identify what type of fish they were. And we were ill-equipped. We were fishing with 2,500 little small spools, so we were ill-equipped to try to get them in. But we gave it our best shot, and switching out to swim bait, the biggest swim baits that we had, as quick as we could. And but unfortunately, we're not able to land one. It's still impressive to see them while you're out there sight fishing.
I'd probably add too, like on the clear water, especially if you're lure fishing, natural colors, lures that look, a lot like a natural bait typically work the best because the fish can see, pretty good. Sometimes some of those real bright kind of fancy type of colors that you usually use like in murkier waters sometimes, won't work as good, as well as like you were saying with a thinner line, like smaller terminal tackle, hooks, weights, whatever. So it's, like I said, less splash and less something for the fish to see.
Yeah, so that's, and Caveman Rick, that's a very interesting discussion. I think that, probably a lot of people in the entire industry have is based on watercolor, what type of lures do you go with? Our product feature for today is actually talking about different types of plastics. So those could be anything from swim baits, 3, 4, 5 inch. They make them up to, or we stock them up to 8-inch swim baits in stock for guys that fish off the pier. And we tend to recommend matching the color of the water. So if you're fishing inshore, for example, in one of the backwaters, where the water kind of looks like sweet tea, or it has that red rusty tint to it, at that point we recommend using like gold spoons, and new penny is a very popular color in different manufacturers use. It looks kind of like a penny, just obviously in a copper tone, and tends to have gold flecks in it. So, and then when you move to that kind of real clear water, I was driving over Destin Pass yesterday and just happened to look out. Crab Island was absolutely beautiful. I mean, one of those days where the water, obviously incoming tide water was immaculate, like very, very clear. We tend to like to throw silver spoons and then, the chartreuses and the pinks and the whites in that instance. And it's referred to as cool water colors. Cool is not necessarily referring to the physical temperature of the water as much as it is the actual spectrum of the color. So it's a cool color. And we tend to fish those in like a more clear water.
All right, Tim, and what's it going to be like this weekend weather-wise, and what we got going on fishing?
Man, I wish I could share great news all the time. We were supposed to have a bad day today, and it turned out to be beautiful. But the weather this weekend is forecasted to be kind of rough. So we're looking for later this afternoon, if you get a chance when you get off work, man, I'd suggest going. If you if you are able to get out tomorrow morning, you may be able to sneak in maybe 2 to 3 hours worth of fishing, but then it's supposed to get pretty nasty pretty quick.
Tim, Kenny is texting us at 850-215-6290. He says, hunting ? Can you shoot a fish?
Yeah, absolutely. So not with a gun, but we do bow fish down here in this area as well. So yeah, you can legally take species of fish with a bow gun. If you've ever seen a crossbow, they're set up similar to that. You can also have a regular compound bow that has the fishing kit built onto it. So you shoot the line, then reel it in. And actually, that's something that's been done. I've been fortunate to do it up on West Bay some, and there's great opportunity for that to be able to shoot a fish with a bow.
Usually, that's gar that your people are typically searching for with those, right?
Yeah, the Midwest area loves of the country loves to shoot gar with those bows.
How is gar? I've never eaten gar. How does it taste?
So I personally have never eaten it either, but I've never heard anybody say anything good.
You basically need tin snips to saw through their skin and their scales to get to the meat, so it's a pain in the ass. So a lot of people don't eat them.
Gotcha.
What if like a great white shark was attacking you? Could you shoot that?
Jaws?
Like Jaws?
They're actually a protected species. I think you would get in trouble even though that they were trying to eat you.
Well, because defending your life, I think there's a little different caveat that is given.
Absolutely. All right, so where are we at here in the fishing report for this weekend?
Yep, so this weekend, expect fishing offshore and from shore to be difficult Saturday and for the better part of Sunday due to increased winds. The best option would be to locate a local pier or dock that is in protected water. Both Bay County and Walton County have excellent resources available online to locate these public fishing areas. Live bait is always a good choice, but should you want to fish plastics, I would suggest the Voodoo Mullet. Its lifelike action brings out the predatory nature within the large redfish and trout and allows for that feature catch you're looking for. Tight lines and fish on, gentlemen.
Hey, Tim, thanks so much, man.
Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend.
Hey, you do
talk
the
to you next
same.
week.
That is Tim Braddock. He is over there with Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. He brings us the real fishing report every Friday at 4:20. Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle out there just past 79, right?
Yeah, I think it's about 5 miles past 79 on the left-hand side of the road, the south side of the road.
Yeah, beautiful shop. Go check it out there. Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. That was Tim Braddock, and that was the real fishing report. Yeah, the only reason I asked about gar, once you brought that up, when we go to the creek, especially when we go to Blue Springs and kind of swim back there, there's some big old gar that swim back and forth, and a lot of alligator gar as well. But that's one of the problems that I have, and I think it's not one of the problems I have, but catching bass in those springs sometimes is a little bit more difficult than what it is just in a regular lake.
Well, yeah, because like you said, that clear water makes it a lot more difficult. Those fish are pretty smart, and after they've seen some baits, once or twice, people think fish are dumb, but they get a memory, and if they've seen something before, they'll probably stay away if something doesn't look right. So do you think they're ever conversating and it's like, okay, guys, we've got a lure down there, it doesn't taste very good, don't worry about that, but when there's shrimp on, it's like, or like real shrimp or squid or whatever, it's like, hey, it's not that bad, he's gonna throw you back. Do you think they ever communicate like that? No, but again, with the shrimp and stuff like that, I mean, to be perfectly honest, that definitely's got to help, having the live bait or dead bait on there as opposed to some plastic or some metal.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Well, we look forward to the Real Fishing Report each and every week, and you guys should be looking forward to what'd you have?
Well, I was going to, you were talking about communicating. Well, in a way, I guess fish kind of do. There will be times when, Tim could probably attest to this, he's talking about tarpon, you can see them stacked up, right? And you can throw baits at them for hours and hours, and they simply just won't bite. But then all of a sudden, like a switch will be flipped, and now all those fish will be biting at just about anything moving in the water. So it's almost like once one, turns and starts to feed, then the other ones start to follow suit. So in a way, I guess maybe you can kind of look at that as a form of communication.
Maybe there is. Another form of communication is going to be starting this Monday, May 1st, the Inside Drive. We're excited to launch the new live and local show for the sports-hungry people of the Panhandle. Monday, 11 a.m., Ryan Mulvey, the Inside Drive, exclusively on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll return right after this.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents
Wrestling Against Cancer, number 8.
Come see premier professional wrestling with the American Machine, Chief Little Bear, Mr. 850, and exciting women's wrestling with Raven Knight and T-Games. This Saturday, Wrestling Against Cancer number 8.
Number 8.
At the Bay Haven Charter Academy in Panama City. Doors open at 5:30, bell time 6:30. Proceeds benefit Donna Duncan.
More information, ESPNPC.com.
By now, you've heard us talking about Tiger TV Pro. Hi, David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs, here to remind you about this incredible streaming service with over 6,000 premium channels. And the cost, you ask? $15 a month. Yes, only $15 a month. Every sports channel is available, including the ACC and SEC Network, the NFL, NBA, MLB, HBO, Showtime, and thousands more. For more info, go to our website at ESPNPC.com. Scroll down and click the Tiger logo.
Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, this is Tim.
Do y'all sell bait?
Yes, we seasonally stock live shrimp, live bull minnows, live sand fleas, live fiddler crabs, earthworms, night crawlers, crickets. We also stock frozen shrimp, sand fleas, mullets, squid, pre-rigged ballyhoo, bonita, stingray, cigar minnows, Boston mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and a few other miscellaneous baits. It's worth the drive to buy premium locally sourced bait from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Are you ready for Panama City's best pizza? Then check out the new Guru's Pizza 786. They don't do just the best pizza. They also serve wings, traditional and boneless, pasta, calzone, salads, sandwiches, and more. Guru's Pizza 786 has 50 plus Indian and Italian pizza varieties. They're open Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. until midnight, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 11 a.m. until 3 a.m. Takeout and delivery are available. Guru's Pizza 786, 7806 Front Beach Road. Call 850-588-5055.
It's go time all the time. Sports talk around the clock.
Oh my gosh!
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And you're back riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes with Caveman Rick and Bone Crusher. ESPN Northwest Florida is what you're listening to, and we are presenting Wrestling Against Cancer 8. That's tomorrow night at Bay Haven Charter Academy in Panama City. Chuck Diamond, Full Nelson, Silas Brown, Frederick Yeager, and exciting women's wrestling with Emily Locks and more. Doors will open at 5:30. Bell time 6:30. Tickets are only $12. All proceeds go to benefit Donna Duncan. Now, ages 6 through 15 get in for $8, but tickets are $12 for 15 and older. 5 and under get in for free. We've got more info for you at espnpc.com for a chance to win a pair of passes. Text the keyword tickets to 850-215-6290. That is tickets to 850-215-6290. All right, Caveman Rick, man, let's open up here with our traffic jamming trivia question of the day. On April 26, 1990, Nolan Ryan threw his 12th career one-hitter, tying the MLB record set earlier by which man? Was it Walter Johnson, Bob Feller, Tom Seaver, or Mordecai Brown? I love that name, Mordecai.
Yes,
and if I ever do have a son, instead of going with D3, David III, I might just go with Mordecai. So we'll see how that works.
I think you should go with David Hayes the third. But
you don't like Mordecai? What if I have two?
Mordecai, like when I think of that name, it reminds me of
The Matrix.
No, the movie Raising Arizona. There's a scene in there where there's a bunch of kids that Nicolas Cage's character and his woman are like befriending another couple, and they have a bunch of kids, and one of them's name's Mordecai. And
there you go.
I just, when I hear that name, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Well, the Braves update today is going to be brought to you by the Break Room. And if you win the trivia question today, you're going to be getting a $25 gift certificate or gift card to the Break Room, and also a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. They've got specials on Monday at spaghetti and meatballs, Tuesdays meatloaf, Wednesdays chicken pot pie, Thursdays hamburger steak, Friday it's air fried chicken, and on the weekend it's $1 wings. $12 for the meal, a drink, and a side at the Break Room, which is in the old building of the Vic's Sports Bar. So they got pool tables, they've got TV, they've got Chef Ross, which is the biggest reason you should go try. Because if you've ever had anything that Chef Ross has prepared, it is put together with love and care, but it's also delicious. The Braves update brought to you by the Break Room. So let's get into it. The Atlanta Braves got Michael Harris back. He was sidelined with a back injury, a lower back strain. So he's coming back, should be in the starting lineup. I haven't checked that today, but that is big news for the Atlanta Braves with the struggling Marcell Ozuna. To this point, it has been a train wreck. Hopefully you see some Sam Hilliard out there in left field, like Kevin Pillar out there as well, but pretty much anything at this point. And I've been a guy who's kind of rode the train with Marcell Ozuna to this point, just been like, I've seen it, with St. Louis in the early time when he first got riding with the Atlanta Braves. I've seen that, stretch of struggles. Obviously never that great in the field outside of his Gold Glove year that he won in left field. But sometimes that bat just pops at the right time. And I'm afraid now, with all that Marcell Ozuna has gone through, I'm kind of surprised that it's not working. Or that he hasn't, used that to fuel the direction he needs to go, but it's not working. I think that, Snit knows that, and of course Alex Anthopoulos did, and if his contract wasn't so gaudy, we could have already moved off from Marcell Ozuna. That's the biggest holdup of this whole entire thing is the contract.
Was that an Anthopoulos deal, or was that a deal prior to coming from the Braves?
No. It was an Anthopoulos deal because everyone was kind of surprised, but it was coming after a year where Marcell Ozuna was hitting the ball particularly
streaky.
Well, what about New Era, man? This is probably some of the biggest news pertaining to the Atlanta Braves. Obviously, Michael Harris coming back is going to prove fruitful for the Atlanta Braves, especially that outfield who needs it after, the loss yesterday to the Marlins, who, after the rain delay, the Braves jump out to a 4-0 lead, and then the Marlins did what the Braves did in the 3 prior games and just come back, or definitely in the game before that, and just come back in the 9th inning and take Game 4 away from the Atlanta Braves. But the big hat, man, which is, this year has been very interesting celebrations. The Shanghai hat over there.
Like samurai
Yeah,
thing.
the samurai hat, rather. That the Angels wear. The Mariners have the trident. Well, New Era steps in and goes to Major League Baseball and says, hey, that big hat out there, I see a New Era logo on every single hat, not just in the, on the field, but in the stands pretty much as well, which is neither here nor there. But New Era steps in and says, no, we're not going to allow the Braves to wear, or MLB is not going to allow the Braves to wear the big hat anymore. And maybe there's a patent on the big hat or something, but why not just make a bigger hat or something more outlandish and just ride with that then, and put your logo on it, New Era. Like, why are we taking away? We're trying to make baseball fun. You know what I mean? And more exciting for everyone. And then you get this little, piece of excitement, and the only team that it's affecting is a team who's wearing a big hat.
Yeah, where do you draw the line, I guess, being that they're the not the sponsor, but the what you say, the provider of the equipment. So same thing with NFL. You have to wear the licensed stuff on the sidelines. You can't wear anything outside of that, or else you'll be fined, or they'll tell you to cover it up. So
I'm with all of that.
I can totally get all that, but like you said, unless there's some kind of patent where they can't come out with their own one, or maybe New Era is just like thinking like I did when those hats came out. I thought they were kind of dumb. Sorry, Miles. I know you got one, buddy, but maybe just because I'm the older kind of ilk, but I don't like them.
All right, we'll get over to the phone line. We've got Fireman Harry on the line. What's up, Fireman Harry? How's it going?
It's going great. The weather's beautiful up here north of y'all. I hope you're getting good weather after what we experienced yesterday.
Yeah, it's definitely got a little bit more sun and
drier.
And drier, yeah.
I want to give you some props, David. Are you talking about bass fishing at Merritt's Mill Pond, Blue Springs?
Oh, no, sir. This one is the one off of Eakin Finem, but I have been up to Merritt Mill, and that's a gorgeous place right there. And that kind of does that feed into Bear Paw?
Spring Creek. It goes down to Bear Paw Landing, the Bear Paw Canoe people. But anybody that fishes in a Blue Spring, wherever if it's in Blue Spring, Alabama, or somewhere in Florida, that's tough bass fishing.
Oh, it is. And it's a lot of fishing, not much catching.
Right. They're smart. Like Rick said, I can't live underwater. Can you? That's how smart they are. Anyway, I want to talk about Marcelo Zuna, who I hope is packing his bags at this time. And I don't think he's got a big contract, not as big as he used to. Didn't they re-sign him in the off-season for a smaller number or not? Am I misthinking that?
I'll have to double-check that. I feel like if they've restructured his contract, I'm not saying that they did or didn't.
And that leads me to my last take. Tannehill now looks like he's at market value at $58.5 million, doesn't he?
That's fair, but wouldn't you like a little bit more production out of your market value? And if with the addition, how do you feel as a Titans fan, Fireman Harry? How do you feel about drafting Peter Skronsky?
Well, you talking about the guard tackle from Northwestern?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the best they could do, I thought.
That's how
I
agree.
Tonight, are they going to get Hendon Hooker or Levis? And I think they're going to do one or the other.
Well, so do you?
They can still take Levis tonight.
I think Levis is going to be one of the first.
Either one of them. Both of them fell to the second. Did Hendon go last night?
No, Hendon didn't go last night.
Only 3 quarterbacks got drafted last night.
And I would love to see Hendon Hooker remain in Nashville, or stay in the state of Tennessee. Yeah, I would love to see that. However, I think Will Levis is going to be one of the first picks tonight. I think someone's going to either trade with Pittsburgh and take him right there, because now you've seen how the whole first round's played out. If you still feel any doubt in your starting quarterback, or if you want a project, then I think you jump up there to take Will Levis. And I'm surprised about Hendon Hooker. Not necessarily that he didn't go in the first round. I'm not surprised at all about that, because of dealing with the ACL and being a little bit older. So that's kind of 2 strikes.
the ACL to me means more than the age, because last year about this time, Jameis Winston limped into OTAs in New Orleans, and it was over for him.
Absolutely.
Hendon's just on like a 5 or 6 month rehab right now, and I got two other I don't know their names. I'm sorry, I'm not good at names anymore. But the UCLA quarterback,
Dorian Thompson-Robinson,
right? They'll both be drafted, most likely. Maybe not the TCU one, but they're going to go behind the SEC quarterbacks.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how all of that plays out too.
Oh, and I know y'all got a schedule to keep, and I'll let you go. But man, Tim's program, that when he talks about fishing, I'm glued to the radio, brother. Bye now.
All right, bye-bye now. That is the Real Fishing Report that Fireman Harry was alluding to, and we love it too, man. That's every Friday at 4:20 right here on ESPN Northwest Florida with the Afternoon Underdogs. Elsewhere in the sport of baseball, the Pirates are still surging, and I was watching them yesterday play the Dodgers, and it's just hit after hit. You had Tupacita Marcano bunt with 2 strikes and lay a beauty of a bunt down, ends up on third base. Just those little things, man, and to see the Pirates playing good baseball.
And doing it without guys like O'Neal Cruz.
Right, exactly. Brian Reynolds has been there. I think, them bringing back McCutchen had a big part to play in, veteran, G-Man Troy. They brought Carlos Santana. They brought in some veterans that just bring a lot of excitement to Pittsburgh. They extend their manager, and so that's still a lot of fun. The Braves and the Mets, that's going to be a big-time kind of telling series. Justin Verlander's on the precipice of coming back. The Braves are getting healthier at this point. Sean Murphy's raking, and that is really good to see. Ronald Acuna Jr. is back to himself, I believe. As of yesterday, 14 stolen bases, so I don't think that there's a doubt on anyone's mind that he's going 40-40 this year. Obviously, it helps so much, tremendously, with the new rules and all of that. Doubt. Could you imagine we get to a single disengagement? I do believe if we get to a single disengagement, which would mean that you only have 1 pickoff attempt, right. That Ricky Henderson's record at that point in time could be in danger.
Definitely.
It would be a ways away, but man, if you've only got one time to get me
with that and bigger bases,
bigger bases,
definitely,
and the pitch clock helps too, right? Because you haven't thrown and there's 3 seconds left. Boom, boom, bam, I'm gone. So 100%, man. The rules are affecting it, and outside. Well, I don't want to say they are helping stolen bases, but if you look at anything other than the time of game or the gameplay time, baseball is still pretty much the same. The average has gotten a little bit better than what it was in 2020, 2021, but it's not, great or anything. So outside of that, according to Jeff Passan and his numbers, not a lot has changed outside of the quickness of the game. So for the purist, or for the people who are like, man, kind of like myself, I'm not a big fan of this pitch clock, I think it's worked out great.
To me, it's like putting the nets up. At first, it's you notice them, you know what I'm saying? You can notice that mesh there, but then after it's there for quite a while and you watch, a handful of games, it just kind of blends in with everything else, becomes like white noise, and you just don't notice it as much anymore, or at all.
Yeah, no, 100%. Also, Shohei Ohtani, which we were having a discussion on here. That was my first time watching Shohei pitch as a starting pitch. Well, pitch this year anyways, because I guess that they changed the rule where he can be the designated hitter, be the DH, and pitch. So he pitched yesterday, had 8 Ks, gave up 5 runs, and I believe it was the 5th inning, but was not even one. He was 4 or 5 feet away from a home run, which would have completed the cycle, which would have been a first in Major League Baseball history where the starting pitcher, there's been a pitcher who's completed the cycle, but he pitched in relief. This would have been the first one for a starting pitcher with a designated hitter, mind you, that he would have hit for the cycle. How does this man just continue to break records?
It's cool that they let him do that, too, because you want to try to encourage more players to be like him, and if you didn't allow that, then some people probably wouldn't want to go that route because it's just a little bit of a hindrance, something you couldn't do. So I think that's cool. Yeah, missing that, that kind of sucks, but we'll probably see it, though. As good as he is swinging the bat, I can imagine it happening sometime in his career.
He's hit for the cycle now. He's the first Japanese player to hit for the cycle.
He's pitching again doing the DH, like the same kind of like situation, the same kind of scenario. I can see it happening again because I'm sure he's going to have plenty of opportunities for it to happen. But you were all talking about some series and stuff earlier too. Just throw one out there, real quick too. The Phillies are playing, Houston this weekend. You got a World Series matchup, and that's on Sunday Night Baseball too. Schwarber will be mic'd up, so
there you go. Yeah, I believe
good TV.
Oh, it's not this Sunday, but next Sunday, the Braves got that early game on Peacock. So you don't even got to wake up. You just have your radio ready to go. And then at 9:20, the coverage will start for the Atlanta Braves. But yeah, a 4-game set with the Mets in Citi Field for the Atlanta Braves, Rays and White Sox, Royals, Twins, Cubs, Marlins. Good series going on. Yankees and Rangers will be one to keep an eye on. Angels and Brewers will be another one to keep an eye on. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. The Braves will be coming up after the Afternoon Underdogs. Max Fried going up against David Peterson. Coming up in hour number 2, we're going to dive a little deeper into wrestling against cancer. 850-215-6290 is the number to call or text. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The tradition continues.
That ball is going to be out of here.
America's team plays here.
Bombs away.
The Atlanta Braves are back and making a statement.
Ronald Acuna just clobbered one to left.
Listen to Atlanta Braves baseball in a rich audio experience live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here comes the thunder.
Sponsored by Goldberg Kia, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, Stormore Portable Buildings, and Brock Pest Control.
Weather forecast for this afternoon: clouds, showers, and thunderstorms expected. The high 75 to 80. More showers and thunderstorms overnight. Temperatures overnight about 67. Those showers and thunderstorms will stick around for the weekend. Highs generally in the 70s. Could be a severe thunderstorm through the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
By now, you've heard us talking about Tiger TV Pro. Hi, David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs, here to remind you about this incredible streaming service with over 6,000 premium channels. And the cost, you ask? $15 a month. Yes, only $15 a month. Every sports channel is available, including the ACC and SEC Network, the NFL, NBA, MLB, HBO, Showtime, and thousands more. For more info, go to our website at espnpc.com. Scroll down and click the Tiger logo.
Barbaritos lets you say yes to fresh. If you don't know what to eat or where to get it, well, fret no more. Barbaritos is here to help with its healthy menu, offering 7 meals with less than 500 calories. Barbaritos has lots of healthy options made with farm fresh food. Your health and your family's health matters to us. Come eat healthy at Barbaritos, 23rd Street in the Stanford Station Shopping Center near Academy Sports. Barbaritos, food, community, people.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida. ESPN Northwest Florida. He entered a kids' 1-mile fun run and came in 9th. David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs. Weekdays 4 to 6 on ESPN Northwest Florida and the ESPN Northwest Florida app.
It's hour number 2, and you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with Caveman Rick, Bone Crusher on the 1 and 2s. We've got this CEO, president of Wrestling Against Cancer, the man, the myth, the legend. I'm talking about Jack Patterson's in the building with us, along with Kelly Clark. Kelly Clark is with us from Cottondale. So I've got a question about that very quickly, but first want to say congratulations to Travis Oglesby, who won 2 tickets to Wrestling Against Cancer. If you would like to win, just text the word tickets to 850-215-6290. Now, Kelly Clark from Cottondale on the show, when we're reading out scores or anything, we always kind of playfully call Cottondale Cantondale. As a Cottondale resident, which would you prefer, Cantondale or Cottondale?
Well, I have a few of the wrestlers that I know personally, and they used to say back in the day, like they used to call it that. But like I guess my generation's never called it that, so always Cottondale. But I've heard the older generation, they say that was like a running joke between all of them.
Awesome though. So because we've always talked about it, I'm like, I want to talk to someone from Cottondale and just get their opinion on it. I didn't know that was actually a thing. I didn't start it by no means.
I think it makes it sound kind of fancy.
Yeah, Cantondale. yeah.
Yeah,
It sounds like some type of katana, like a weapon.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Are you gonna have a katana in the ring with you this week?
A katandale.
A katandale. Cantandale, tongue twister there. Can't wait. So Wrestling Against Cancer, that's tomorrow night, Bayhaven Charter Academy. Jack, what time is the bell ringing?
It's 6:30.
So what time can people start showing up?
5:30.
Tickets are how much?
They're 5 and under is free. 6 to 15 is $8, and 16 and up is $12.
All right, and this is going to be a fantastic event. What's the best part about this event, Jack?
The best part?
Yes.
All of it's going to be.
Well, no doubt. The proceeds benefiting Donna Duncan, though, and helping her with her battle, helping her wrestling wrestle against cancer. It's going to be a lot of great matches. So let's find out a little bit here about Kelly Clark. What got you into wrestling?
So when I was about 8 years old, and my dad and all my family, we always watched wrestling. All my cousins, we grew up watching it. And I watched Ric Flair versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat match, Chi-Town Rumble, and that was the moment I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And my dad built us an outside ring in my backyard, and so we had like our own backyard ring, and we just mess around on it. And I used to throw shows around town. Like I used to make flyers and hand them out to people, and just draw people in, and like little 8-year-olds just out there hitting each other with chairs, beating the crap out of each other.
Could you imagine the lawsuits that could come from that today? But back in our day, that was easy money. We used to live actually right over here on the beach, and we had a small, when I was growing up, I thought it was huge, you know what I mean?
Right.
But we had a little deck outside of the trailer that we lived in, and we would use that as a wrestling ring. There was no ropes or anything. It was just me and my brother. So I can only imagine the amount of fun that you guys had with a legit backyard ring.
Yeah. You mean Ryan Holland didn't?
Oh, no.
Ryan Holland.
Yeah, but he was. So the big deal Ryan Holland, at that point in time, he was Ghostface, just Ghostface.
Right.
And I can't remember wrestling with him very much on that. He was too big for we were kind of smaller at that point in time. Me and my brother were. I can't remember if he did, but he definitely showed us, or at least put us in moves. And the figure 4 was his favorite to put us in, or the what's it called? Lex Luger, the rat, torture rack.
Yeah, torture rack.
Torture rack. Yeah, man, no doubt. So
speaking of moves, what would be your finishing move, Kelly Clark?
My finishing move is actually a standing figure 4. So it's basically just a standing figure 4, but I'm just standing on my feet.
Oh, okay, right on.
That is cool, man. What goes into figuring out how that finishing move is gonna, or what your finishing move is gonna be?
Well, my favorite wrestler has always been Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my top guy. I love Ric Flair, and I was reading this book from like the old school, like from the 50s. And it was a book on wrestling finishing holds, and that was in the book from these old guys, like what's his name? Just some older guys from like the 50s and stuff, Gorgeous George era. Yeah, so it was just in the book, and I was like, I'm going to use that, and that's what I just went with.
I love it. Jack, what's an exciting thing that could be happening tomorrow night?
Well, there's going to be a surprise in the women's match. There's going to be a big surprise that neither women wrestler knows about.
Oh, I cannot wait. A little teaser, exactly. So what time do people need to be there tomorrow night? Or as soon as the doors open, right? 5:30?
5:30.
And there's bleachers and everything, so and you're going to have chairs for the front row, right? So no one needs to bring anything but their bodies.
Right. But it's all general admission, no matter what. Just come the first you get there, and you want to get around the ring, you can do that as long as it's not filled up. But then other than that, there's bleachers.
I love it. Did you play any team sports at all when you were growing up?
Well, I kind of dropped out of school at a young age.
Well, not even school, but any like recreational or anything like that?
No, not really. I kind of always wanted to just do wrestling.
You had a ring in your backyard. It makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I was never really interested in football. Like I probably never ever watched football or anything, no baseball on TV. Well, I did play baseball when I was like 5, but that was like, once I hit a certain age, I was like, I'm not doing this no more.
I gotcha. So how long have you been wrestling?
For about 3 years. I started when I was 15. And I'm about to be 18 now.
Oh, you're only 18 years old. Okay.
Well, 17, about to be 18. Yeah.
Wow. Let's go. That's very impressive, man. Yeah. Doing this at 17 years old. You've been doing it since you were 15. What's been the hardest part of the journey?
The hardest part was Probably just like finding yourself, like finding what you can do and what you need to do and like what works for you. That was probably the hardest part. But once I figured that out, I was like, this is it.
Yeah, and Jack, so again, all proceeds here going to benefit Donna Duncan. That's the whole reason that you do this. And just kind of remind the listeners right now how Wrestling Against Cancer all got started in the first place.
Well, it all started in 2015 when my sister got breast cancer, and I did the show at the fairgrounds at the very first one. We had a great packed house. It was like 500 people to the first show. And I was like sitting back thinking, well, I think I'm going to continue it because I just felt a need to continue this, to help someone that needs help. And it's all about Donna tomorrow night. It's all about her. All the proceeds from the concession and the door goes to her. And it's just, because, cancer is very stressful and mental on everybody, not even the patient, but the family members go through stuff. And it's just so hard on them. And Donna, in Donna's case, she's got to take treatments the rest of her life. And one show, it ain't going to cover everything.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you're in a beautiful shot right now to go ahead and hold that belt up. I regret the last time we had you on, we didn't get to show the belts off, and Jack's got it with him. This is the Wrestling Against Cancer belt, and it says Pray and Believe. Jack, just tell us a little bit about that beautiful piece of hardware there.
Well, it's all about...
Hey, come a little bit closer to the mic real quick, though. There you go. On the side plates, it's got pink ribbons. That's the symbol of my sister when I started it. Mm-hmm. And then I put the all the ribbon colors of the cancers. Yeah.
And then I put Wrestling Against Cancer and Pray and Believe, because we have to pray when you get this. You have to pray and you got to believe that everything's going to be okay. Which I know it's hard for some people. Faith is very, very hard to have if you don't, I'm not trying to say the wrong thing to offend nobody because I don't want to offend them. But it's like, just basically pray and believe and have faith. Because I just went through it in September.
Right.
When I had that double lung transplant. I had to have a faith. I died 3 times in the hospital. Mm-hmm. And coded on the operating table. And I came through it because I prayed and I believed, and I know it's hard. It was hard for me at sometimes. Because sometimes I did doubt. But we just got to pray and believe and know we're going to be okay.
Well, Kelly, we know who your favorite wrestler of all time is, but what if I put you on the spot here and said your top 5 of all time? We just got a comment from Yankee John who says his favorite wrestler is Bret Hart.
Bret Hart. Oh, well, Shawn Michaels is also one of my favorites. Speaking of Bret Hart, I feel like they had one of the greatest rivalries. And top 5, it's definitely Ric Flair, Gorgeous George, Kurt Hennig, Shawn Michaels, and I would have to say Cali Man. He's the local guy, Cali Man.
Cali, dude, that's some love. First off, Cali Man's been on the show before. Cali Man smacked me in the mouth, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, on here.
Yeah.
Actually, my whole character is inspired by Cali Man. Like, growing up, besides Ric Flair, like, growing up locally and, like, watching the guys, he was always the guy I ran to and, like, watched. And that's what I was like, man, I'm going to do this. I got to be just like him. And everything I do, all my gear is designed based upon him.
That's really cool, man, because having met Cali Man and then having him hit me in the face with a belt was a lot of great fun, but kind of getting to know him as well is also, in that time period, it was he's a great guy and a great handler of the crowd. I don't know if that would be a good way to put that or not. So that is awesome, though, that you kind of pay homage in a sense to Cali Man and what he's done here for wrestling. So you gotta love that, man. I cannot wait. So who's your opponent?
My opponent is, I believe I'm going to be
in a gauntlet match.
You're in a tag. So who's your tag partner?
He's tagging with Brian Full Nelson was here.
So you're with Full Nelson.
Yeah.
So we know the whole team. We've had the team on here. All right. So have you ever worked with Full Nelson before?
Me and Full Nelson, we've trained together before and whatnot. So we got chemistry together. So I feel like it's going to be basically pretty easy work.
All right. I like that. Jack, also, I'm not ruining anything if I ask you about there's going to be a first annual match tomorrow evening as well?
Yes, it's going to be the first annual Cobra 8-man elimination match. It's my old tag team partner that I had, and he'd been in the wrestling. He wrestled for 30 years, and he passed away back in September. And he's my brother, you know. We were partners, but he was my brother too. So we're dedicating this match to him and I'm going to continue again, carry it on. So, because it's an 8-man elimination, meaning when you get pinned, you go. Whoever gets pinned, they leave.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be fun. Oh, I thought you had
Cancer
something.
9 will have the second incarnation of this bout, it sounds like.
Yeah, are we starting off with the
Marie Love Battle Royal we have every year.
Yeah, man, that's always. I remember. I think it was 2 years ago, and one of the guys just dislocated his knee and had to come out after that, and was like, "Man, that is wild." Having how many pounds do you imagine is in the ring for a battle royale for the Marie Love Battle Royale?
Believe it or not, the battle royals most of the time that's where most people get hurt at.
Yeah,
because there's so many people in the ring at one time. But a lot of people get hurt easier than a regular match.
Yeah.
Too many bodies banging, I guess.
Yeah.
Jack, what in sports, like in the team sports world, has kind of aligned or you've kind of made the comparison with in the sport of wrestling? So, like, from teams, like you like Florida State and all of that stuff. Right. What is your comparison kind of when it comes to the world of wrestling, the sport of wrestling, and just like what are some things that this happens in team sports, it also happens in wrestling, and unless you know wrestling, you wouldn't know that it's in there because there's teamwork, tag team, there's heart, there's grit, there's showmanship, there's so many things that happen in the world of wrestling that unless you're a wrestling fan, you don't give it the credit where it's due.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
All right. Kelly here. Let's see. So you're from Cottondale, only 17 years old. Do you do any aerial moves?
Not really. I try to stay on the ground as much as possible. I might go up to the top for a cross body, but that's risking it. I don't try to get to the top. I want to save my body. I want to be wrestling like Ric Flair. I want to wrestle at 73.
So you don't do like ladders, you don't do like cages, nothing like that?
I did a ladder match when I was 15, and in it I had my head split wide open, and I had to go to the hospital. And this was the only time I did it. And I went to the hospital, and they was like, it's going to be an 8-hour to wait till you can get stitches. And I'm like, nah, I'm going home. And I was like, I'm not
super glue, baby.
Yeah,
super glue and
never
duct tape.
doing that again.
Wow, man.
My favorite match when I was wrestling was a cage match. I always loved the cage matches. There was one time I was on top of the cage, and I come off the cage, and in the middle of the ring, you're looking at over 15 feet coming down.
You jumped from the top of the cage.
No, I was up there with me and the guy was up there scrapping each other.
Oh, so you didn't even jump. You fell from the cage.
Right.
Oh, man, that's a tough fall, man. What piece of advice would you guys give Tua Tagovailoa on how to fall better from the position of quarterback?
Flat back.
Flat back.
Yeah, just arms out, chin tuck.
First of all, I'd say get rid of the ball faster.
Get rid of the ball faster. That's a good piece of information. So flat back, put your arms out.
Yeah, put your arms out, chin tuck, legs in the air.
There you go, man. Well, he has been taking judo to try to overcome that because he dealt with a couple of concussions last year. So hopefully he can get beyond that. We've got the NFL draft tonight, and last night was round 1. So we've been talking about that throughout the day. Caveman, who do you think the first pick tonight is going to be?
were
owned by the
earlier.
Steelers, but the Steelers might be trading it.
Well, there's a lot of talk of the Steelers trading. They were getting a lot of offers, let's put it that way anyways. So it'd be up to them whether or not they want to make a move. If they do make a move, it'll probably be somebody going up to get, like we said earlier, like a Will Levis or something like that.
That's what I'm thinking, man.
I'm thinking. And then if they don't and they just stay put, I think they got to do something to help out Pickett again. Maybe another like offensive lineman or something like that, to protect him so that he can have a long, fruitful career over there in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. Yankee John wants to know for Kelly Clark what your favorite MMA crossover wrestler is.
Man, I don't really know too many. I guess I don't like Brock Lesnar, but I'm just gonna have to say Brock Lesnar, I guess. That would probably be it. I guess football player-wise, I guess The Rock.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar's kind of in both of those categories as well. What'd you think of WrestleMania this year and Cody Rhodes?
I feel like it's good. It's very good for business because Cody, he's been faithful to WWE before, but like in recent times, he has been in AEW and switching back and forth and stuff. So I can see why they wouldn't. And plus, they want to push Roman for that 1,000 title reign. I guess they want to beat Bruno Sammartino's record, and I don't blame him. I mean, if you check the records and stuff, the most sales on merchandise Roman Reigns beats everybody out the water. So best for business.
Acknowledge him.
Do you think WWE should let Roman Reigns his reign last longer than Bruno's?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
because he's the new era, and I think, believe it or not, kids love him.
Yeah,
Roman Reigns. So I think they should.
When you were first getting into wrestling, like as a wrestler, Jack, was there such a thing as the heel kind of being more popular than what the face was? And how, if not, then how was kind of taking all of that in and that change?
Well, back then there was no really sports entertainment. It was actually wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more sports entertainment now. And because of Vince McMahon, and most of the majority of the time, if you were a heel, you were a heel. If you was a face, you was a face. You didn't do that much. Now, the Stone Cold area, because he was loved and hated.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just different now than it was back then. Because I started in 1986, so I was in high school still.
I was -5. Kelly, what's your favorite type of a wrestling match?
Type of wrestling match? I like watching old school steel cage matches with Dusty Rhodes and Arn Anderson and all them. But I would just probably say just a normal match, good guy, bad guy, just telling a story of who's the good guy and bad guy, just a normal match.
I love that. Jack, what advice would you give to someone who's the age of Kelly here, Kelly Clark? What advice would you give to him to get into the world of professional wrestling?
Basically, what I would say is just listen to the veterans and just go that way. And he's very good about listening to veterans. First time I ever met him, he was very respectful. And you got to be respectful to the veterans and stuff. If you're not, you will never make it in this business.
Oh, 100%, because they could push you down. And also when you're kind of based off, or I don't want to say based off of, because
pay your dues.
Yeah, when you pay your dues to Cali, man, then I think
when I first met Jack, I believe I was wrestling against Cancer. I want to say 5 or 6.
Was it at the Possum Palace?
No, it was in
Bonifay.
I was 15, and I got told that they were needing some extra guys, and I was just not promised anything, but I still showed up. I helped set up, and it was my very third match ever. And they told me I was going to be in a tag match, and that's my very third match was at Wrestling Against Cancer.
What advice would you give to the youngins out there who would like to become a wrestler?
Just listen, pay attention, and watch a lot of old matches, because I'll go back and watch matches from the 30s and 40s and all that. So just watch old matches.
I love it, man. That is Kelly Clark. He's going to be wrestling at Wrestling Against Cancer 8 tomorrow night. Tickets are just $12. And if you're under 15 years old, it is $8, right? Yeah, I want to make sure. If you're 6 to 15, $8, 5 and under, get in for free. And we're going to keep it rolling here. We've got T Gaines in the building. Kelly will join us again at 5:40 here. Kelly, thanks so much. We'll have Jack Patterson, T Gaines when we return.
Northwest Florida presents
Wrestling Against Cancer, number 8.
Come see premier professional wrestling with the American Machine, Chief Little Bear, Mr. 850, and exciting women's wrestling with Raven Knight and T-Games. This Saturday, Wrestling Against Cancer number 8.
Number 8.
At the Bay Haven Charter Academy in Panama City. Doors open at 5:30, bell time 6:30. Proceeds benefit Donna Duncan.
More information, ESPNPC.com.
Weather forecast for this afternoon. Clouds, showers, and thunderstorms expected. The high 75 to 80. More showers and thunderstorms overnight. Temperatures overnight about 67. Those showers and thunderstorms will stick around for the weekend. Highs generally in the 70s. Could be a severe thunderstorm through the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
This Mother's Day, think Western wear for that special mom. And when you think Western wear, you know where to shop. That Boot Store. That Boot Store. You'll find a huge selection of Western outfits for the young to not so young mama. No need to shop anywhere else. That Boot Store. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5:30. That Boot Store. Next to Bill Bird Kia on 15th Street, Panama City.
At Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, you can find all the necessary items for an unforgettable fishing experience. From pin rods and reels to the best hand-tied rigs in Florida, we have it all. With the help of our friendly and knowledgeable staff, you can be sure that you have the right gear to make that big catch. Come experience a great local bait and tackle shop located directly off 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach, located just 5 miles west of Pier Park.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents
Wrestling Against Cancer, number 8.
Saturday, April 29th at the Bay Haven Charter Academy in Panama City. Proceeds benefit Donna Duncan.
More information, ESPNPC.com.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
It is the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, Caveman Rick, Bone Crusher on the ones and twos here with special guests, Jack Patterson, and we've got T. Gaines in the building. Pleasure to meet you, T. Gaines. First question we've got for you is, what does the T stand for in T. Gaines?
So it's pretty simple. My real name is Taylor Gainey.
There you go.
And so in high school, I was given the name just T-Gain, and I got well known just for that being my nickname. So once I got into wrestling, I wanted to shake it up a little bit. So I just threw a Z on the end just to snazz it up a bit. So that's where it came from.
And it is definitely snazzy. Yeah. I love that. Now, did Gain, obviously that's your last name, but you were a weightlifter in high school, I'm just hearing about as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your team won a state championship. What school was that, and where did you win that championship at?
So I went to high school it was Union County High School. And so we had actually won state as a whole team, 6 of us, which hadn't been done for that school before. That was my junior year. And individually, I placed 7th that year.
Let's go.
And it was also like my rookie year, so I didn't fully step into it like, oh, I'm going to become of course, I always have that belief and like faith, like going into it. I want to be a state champion, but it was my rookie year just starting, and I placed 7th. And I had thanked my coach for everything he had done for me that year, but I told him that I wasn't going to know what 7th place felt like again.
There you go.
I kicked it into high gear, and then my senior year, I won first in state.
Congratulations.
What year was that?
2019.
2019, so not even that long ago, winning it right here in your now backyard, or at least our backyard at Gavlac there, or at Arnold rather. Man, what was my other question that I was gonna ask you, but that is really cool, man. I had something lined up and then I interjected and
I can
made
say
myself forget.
she was mentioning she's a Chiefs fan. I'm sorry to hear that. Me being an Eagles fan, you know, just being that they just beat us not too long ago. But hey, that's cool that you like football. So who's your favorite players? Mahomes, Kelsey, right on.
Oh yeah, no doubt, because I mean, like, he embodies, well, him and George Kittle, though, tight end for the San Francisco 49ers, they bring wrestling, or you know what I mean, like the way that they cut their promos, if you will, you know, I know that they're not cutting,
they bring the hype
promos
like they're wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a lot of fun. Let's see, what are you excited for about your match?
Well, it is a triple threat, and I do love those. It's a lot of fun, And one good thing is that for triple threats, the rules in a sense of countouts and all that stuff goes out the door. So you have a lot of leeway. You got a lot of different avenues you can take the match. So I'm very excited, and it's two very, very good competitors. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And my ADD just kicked in, and I remembered where I was going. What did you learn from weightlifting that translated to the world of wrestling?
So probably the biggest thing, of course, is the training, which is actually funny because the training for weightlifting and the training for wrestling is so like vastly different. So it was a whole thing of just mainly the dedication, no matter what it is that you're doing, weightlifting, this or that, it all requires the same dedication and focus. Even if you got to switch your perspective on things. So like with weightlifting, you're really focused on building the most muscle mass to lift the most maximum weight that you can, the highest numbers you can put up. And with wrestling, a really big thing is cardio, being able to go and to keep going. And so the biggest thing is to not really get discouraged, but keep the grind. You may have to change your perspective on things, like switching to wrestling. I couldn't keep doing the same regimen before. I had to switch it up. So mainly the dedication.
All right, let's get back over to Jack here. We asked our previous guest on what his top 5 wrestlers were. What's your top 5 wrestlers, Jack? All time here. You can go in any direction.
I'd have to say my very first number 1 was the Mr. Wrestling number 2. It's been a while ago, but he's.
Hey, I'm sure someone out there listening right now remembers Mr. Wrestler number 2.
Right, and I like Dusty Rhodes. Who don't like Dusty Rhodes?
How do you feel about Cody and kind of his career after Dusty's?
I think he's going to make a lot of big success like Dusty did, but in a different era.
Gotcha. All right, number 3.
Number 3, I'd say Ric Flair.
Love it. That's 2 Ric Flairs we've got so far out of 15. We haven't got all the way to 15 yet. Number 4.
Triple H.
Triple H. And then number 5.
It was, I'd say right now, because watching it, and this is not a male, this is the female, and I don't think they push her like they need to. Liv Morgan.
Oh, Liv Morgan. Did she have an incident the other, I don't know how long ago it was, where like her elbow or like dislocated her shoulder or something and then just continued to whip the tar out of someone? That is so impressive. What about for Miss T. Gaines here, your top 5 wrestlers of all time?
I'm going to list these probably in no particular order, just what pops up. So
number 5, no.
Start from the bottom. No. Definitely Shawn Michaels.
All right.
Definitely Shawn. I would say Paige, which I know she goes by her real name now with AEW. She's one of the women that even caught my attention to even want to wrestle. Her, Chyna. Yeah, I'm going to go again for Ric Flair.
There we go.
What's that, 4?
Yeah.
Final, I go with Charlotte.
Charlotte Flair.
Who did you see at Daytona? You and
Charlotte
Kyle?
Flair, yeah.
Okay.
I was probably like me to a little closer actually. And then my buddy, who's a huge wrestling fan, got a picture with her. That was at Daytona, so that was really cool. That was definitely cool, especially having the Flair name in general is just like. I got to meet Hulk Hogan when I was younger too. That was pretty cool.
I was probably like 12 or 13, and I had just had 7 teeth removed because I was getting prepped to have braces.
Yeah.
And right before that, we had already had tickets bought to go to see NXT. My dad had bought us tickets, and I'm coming out because they had to put me under for the surgery. And time as I wake up, I'm like chanting NXT, like, are we still going? Yeah. I'm calling my dad. And he said, wait and see how you're feeling. Well, it was the next day, and I'm totally swollen up. I can barely talk, but I still convinced them to let me go. And throughout the show, I go to the bathroom, and Charlotte's in there, and I get like a selfie with her. I get to talk with her. But there's this picture where my face is humongous, and I'm just so happy to be with her. We're in the bathroom taking selfies. That's awesome.
That is really cool. That is really cool. Go ahead.
So what got you into wrestling? Do you have like family members that are into wrestling, or just a passion for just watching it on TV? Or
yeah, it's funny, none of my family had, they had like watched wrestling, they knew what it was, but they weren't like passionate about it. Like at the time, like they probably watched it when they was a kid. They just stopped watching it. And then I had a younger cousin who was very much into it. He had all the John Cena stuff in his room, everything. And one night he wanted us to watch it for dinner, and Sting came across the screen, and I was like, who is that? I had no idea.
That's my favorite of all time.
Sting comes across, like, who is that guy? And he looked at me like I had no brain cells. I was like, I do not know who Sting is. And so he started, like, stayed up all night telling me he was the good guys, the bad guys, all this stuff. And I had him write down, like, the TV channels that came on Dish so I could go home and watch it. And I asked my dad if he would watch it with me, and he told me no, because he knew wrestling, like the Attitude Era and the women not wearing a whole lot and cussing, like all that stuff. And he didn't think it was appropriate for me. I was like 12, and I told him it wasn't like that anymore. And so we started watching it together, and that became like our bonding thing.
Yeah. Okay,
and NXT was traveling super close to where we were. And so, like, almost every weekend, he was taking me to NXT shows. And on pay-per-views, like, we would have a big whiteboard, and we'd invite our friends over, and we'd make our predictions for all the matches and stuff, and was, like, full out. He would get me, like, the video games, and our fingers would be raw from playing them. And it just grew and grew and grew. And I had seen Paige at an NXT show, and I just felt just so captivated with her. Because as a girl, like growing up, like dealing like with insecurities and stuff like that, when she stepped out, she just looked so confident and so powerful, and I like gravitated towards that, like a role model, because you see that's someone like I want to be like that. And then when I saw her like wrestling, I even grew in more love with her work, and so she's the one that first captivated my eye. I wanted to go ahead and go and do this.
You know, there's a movie about Paige fighting with family, about how she got into NXT and all that stuff.
Really? I did not know that. That's really cool. What did I have? So you looked up to Paige, right? There's other girls who watch you on, weekends when you're out there wrestling, right? And they look up to you. What would you say to those young girls who might want to become a wrestler? What piece of advice would you give them?
I would probably say the biggest thing is, because especially being in this business, and this may be like, I don't know, like too deep, but being in this business, there are eyes on you. And even me, you wouldn't think that, I would be insecure because I'm out here doing different things, public eyes on me, but you still deal with insecurities. Most of the time, it's the people that's on this super like pedestal of viewers that are the most insecure, and you wouldn't think that. So what I would probably tell them the most is to believe in yourself, believe in who you are, be confident in yourself, because there's going to be people that's going to doubt you. There's going to be people that's just want to find enjoyment in bringing you down, and to not listen to it. Sit down and have a clear focus on what it is your dream is and your goal, and only put your view on that, and not get distracted about the other things around you.
850-215-6290 is the number you can call or text. You can get on the line, ask some questions to Kelly Clark or T. Gaines or Jack Patterson, or you can text it and we will ask it right here. Caveman, were you about to?
Well, here's another one. Finishing move or favorite move that you like to use in the ring, what would that be?
Yes, well, my whole nickname gimmick is the Quadzilla, and so my finishing move is I have my opponents up on my shoulders and I squat them into a push press.
Oh wow!
Into my finisher.
So you got your weightlifting kind of prowess involved with it too, showing off a little bit. That's cool.
She's strong. I've seen her pick up
I'd imagine
guys.
if you got to do that. Yeah.
I've seen her pick up guys.
Well, what's been the funnest part of this journey for you becoming a professional wrestler?
Probably the funnest is just how the possibilities are just endless, like the creativeness in matches, and just having a great time. Like even Kelly and I tag up. He's Mr. Personality and I'm Quadzilla, so we do the Quads of Personality gimmick.
Okay.
And there's just the whole possibilities of just having fun and just letting loose and doing crazy stuff. Like you see, it is a brute sport, but there's just so much more to it, like dancing on the way to the ring, just having so much fun with the fans and goofing around and incorporating different tools and stuff in matches. So just opening your mind to the different possibilities and types of matches and just letting yourself have fun, that's the biggest thing.
Absolutely. Jack, what about for you? Your journey, it's been amazing. What's been the funnest part of the journey for you just in wrestling?
Well, I started growing up, I was watching wrestling, and everybody doubted me and stuff, you know, because I was real small then. I only probably weighed 150 pounds when I started wrestling, and a lot of people doubted me. But I continued and continued and continued to go. And what I like about it is you get to go out there and entertain these people, not for me, but for the fans. You know, I like interacting with the fans, whether I was a good guy or a bad guy. I just like entertaining with them and stuff, and I love it. And I'd probably still be doing it if I hadn't had medically retired.
Absolutely. I know that you would.
Just thought of something cool, too. We could ask Kelly, too, but maybe in the next segment. Walkout music? Do you got, like, something that you always come out to, or do you change it up every time? Or
I have something that I come out to every single time. And I know, like, lots of people do, like, pull stuff off YouTube, different things. I know that when I had started, I wanted to make something that, like, I knew was mine, so no matter where I went, I could have it. If I ever got brought up, you know,
were playing with Fruity Loops, wasn't you?
So that there was no, like, copyright thing. So I had a friend who had music on Spotify, and so I hit him up, and I was like, would you make my theme music for wrestling? And so I really like it. It's got, like, an edgy vibe to it, an Undertaker feel, because it has, like, some bells starting in the beginning of it. And I got all the paperwork, copyright, all that stuff. So it's signature T-Gains, and I really love it.
That's cool, doing it upright.
Yeah, and you can hear her walkout music tomorrow night at Wrestling Against Cancer 8 in a triple threat match. Let's get over the phone line. Travis wants to tell us about his top 5 wrestlers. What you got, buddy?
Hey, David, how's it going?
Fantastic, man.
Everybody, how are you? I was like, man, my favorite sports talk radio is talking my favorite sport. I gotta at least see if I can't give you my top 5.
All right, well, go ahead, man. Start with number 5, and let's work our way to 1.
Oh, 5. Okay, reverse order. Reverse order, Taker.
Taker, love it.
Number 4, AJ Lee.
All right.
3 would be John Cena.
Okay.
2 is Game, and 1 is Sting.
I'm right there with you. Number 1 for me will forever be Sting. There's no doubt about that. Jack, what's up with the thumbs down at John Cena? I know he can't see it, but I just told him about it. So
hey, no, I was joking. I love John Cena the way he does for the kids and stuff, Make-A-Wish and stuff like that. But I don't know. Sometimes you just got them certain wrestlers you just don't root for.
And if there wasn't that, would wrestling be as popular as it is? You know what I mean? That's kind of the beauty of it. Travis, you're going to be out there at Wrestling Against Cancer 8 tomorrow night, right? Oh, he's gone. So he will be there tomorrow night, Wrestling Against Cancer 8, because he just won 2 tickets not too long ago, and you can too. 850-215-6290. Text the code word tickets. My top 5 wrestlers, obviously Sting. Next would be Hollywood Hogan. I like the Hulk Hogan as well. Might be my favorite as far as his get up, if you will, was when he was like Captain America Hulk Hogan, like when he came back for the first time in a while. But Hollywood Hogan, I got to meet him, shake his hand at like a ranch somewhere, and that was really
Way
cool.
to go, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Rey Mysterio, just because he's small and you know, just I've always liked Rey Mysterio. 4 and 5 is where I kind of always like. I love the British Bulldog. I don't even know why.
Davey Boy Smith.
I don't even know why I liked him, but I did when I was growing up. And then last but not least would either be, I want to go with a big guy here and like kind of create a team or my own faction, if you will, like the Big Show, Kane, or Taker. And I would just go with Big Show because for me it was WCW growing up. Like there was that Attitude Era was WWF or WWE and WCW, and for some reason I always just aligned with WCW.
So mine would be like WWF, like up to like I was probably 13 years old. So guys like Jake the Snake Roberts and like I said, British Bulldog, you know, was another good one. Iron Sheik was cool. Tag team back in the day, Demolition. They kind of looked like Kiss with the face paint and everything. They were pretty badass. I liked them back in the day too. They were pretty scary. They're pretty cool.
I love it. Bone Crusher's got a top 5 too.
We got John on line 1.
Another John.
Okay, hey John, give me your top 5 wrestlers of all time.
All right. Number 1, got to be Ric Flair.
Yes, sir. I love it.
All right. Number 2, Stone Cold.
Oh, yeah. Man, I mean, if everyone gives their top 5, I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, of course, that guy's got to be in there. Go ahead with number 3, John.
That's what I'm thinking. Number 3, Road Warriors.
All right. Absolutely.
Number 4, Hulk Hogan.
Yes, sir.
Number 5, Taker.
Taker. That's a great list. Hey, John, thanks so much for the call, my friend.
Take care.
So is Taker just short for Undertaker?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just guessing because like that was about the time I was getting out was when Undertaker was like coming out. So I just wanted to make sure that I'm like getting it.
Understanding.
One of my other favorites is the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson.
Okay, I think I'll have to look into that one.
They had a lot of good feuds with Midnight Express.
All right. I love that. We've got to run to a break, but don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap this up. We're getting you guys all prepped up for Wrestling Against Cancer 8. You can win a pair of tickets by texting tickets to 850-215-6290 or come to Bayhaven Charter Academy. Find out more when we return.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the sports talk monster on the Gulf Coast. Let's go! Destin, Panama City, and Mexico Beach. Listen on 104.3. In the Mariana, Chipley, and Bonifay area, hear us on 102.1.
Swing, line drive, left center field, that ball is down!
And now, Fort St. Joe, Apalachicola, and Weewa. It's 101.9. We have Northwest Florida covered. It's ESPN Northwest Florida.
Join Karaoke for a festive book signing on April 26th at the PCB Library, 12500 Hutchison Boulevard, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Then, on April 28th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Bay County Library, 898 West 11th Street in Panama City. It will be a fun read with plenty of pictures to go along with stories of a born and raised Okie and the secrets of working in Hollywood. So come on, join the fun. If you can't make the event, books are available on Amazon.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
It's a Chips Ahoy Oreo Cookie Blast at Krispy Kreme Donuts, matey. Shiver me timbers. You'll receive 2 soft Chips Ahoy cookies stuffed inside a Krispy Kreme donut. And you can wash it all down with an Oreo frozen latte. Now at Krispy Kreme Donuts, next to HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents
Wrestling Against Cancer, number 8.
Saturday, April 29th at the Bayhaven Charter Academy in Panama City. Proceeds benefit Donna Duncan.
More information, ESPNPC.com.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. It's the final segment of this beautiful Friday afternoon. And tomorrow is April 29th, which means none other than Wrestling Against Cancer 8 at the Bayhaven Charter Academy right here, Panama City, 2501 Hawks Landing Boulevard. Normally, we just give you a half a set of some of the wrestlers or some of the talent that will be there. But American Machine, Chief Little Bear, Mr. 850, and also exciting women's wrestling, Savannah Thorne, T. Gaines, Chuck Diamond, Fool Nelson, Silas Brown, Frederick Yeager, and Kelly Clark in the building with us, as well as Emily Locks. Doors opening at 5:30, bell time 6:30. Tickets are $12 at the door. Ages 6 through 15 get in for $8, 5 and under, free. Proceeds go to benefit Donna Duncan, which is the whole entire reason that we have this show. Jack does such a great job for the last 8 years, and I know that it's going to be 9 as well for I don't want to say singling out, but helping someone with this tough task of trying to wrestle against cancer. So he puts on the benefit show, and we love it. Still got a chance for you to win a pair of passes. Text the keyword tickets to 850-215-6290. What would you say, Kelly or T. Gaines, whichever one wants to? Actually, let's start with you, Jack, and I'm sure that you've had this conversation with her. But what would you say to Donna Duncan if she was sitting right here in front of you on why you want to do this for her?
Hey, one thing, I'm the passion for it because I hate cancer. You know, And it's just an honor to help somebody that is struggling with stuff. And it's like a lot of times I don't know these people that I do these benefits for, and you get to know them, and it's just a passion for me just to help people.
I love it. What would you say, T-Games? What would your message be to Donna Duncan in general, even if it's just a message of positivity?
Well, like the biggest thing is just how I'm very excited to be able to be a part of this and given the opportunity that I can use my abilities and stuff that I have to go towards something so helpful for an individual. And with it being cancer, it's like one of those things that cancer, you hear about it, you know it's awful, and then when it affects you and it becomes your world, you look at it in a whole different circumstance. Like my mother and grandmother both had cancer, and like I said, it's one of those things, you know it's bad, and then when it becomes your world, it cuts really deep. And so to also have that passion and know how it affects you mentally, how it affects your family, how it affects you financially, and just the whole impact, and being able to be a tool and a helping part in something to help out someone with that, it's an honor, it's a privilege, and I'm very excited for tomorrow and go out there and do everything that I can, give the fans excitement, get them riled up, and excited to be there for the wrestling and to give whatever they can also to this cause.
Absolutely. And Kelly Clark, what would your message be to Donna Duncan?
I would say to keep going and don't give up, because our job out there is not just to wrestle, but to take people out of reality and put them into our world for not even like 2 hours, to take her out of the reality that she's living in and put her in a happy place, and know that those people ain't just there for wrestling, or there for her to help support her needs. So I just wanted to keep going and don't give up.
I love that. That's 3 fantastic answers. What gets you guys going more, cheers or boos?
Depends on the situation.
Right, of course. I know, but
I prefer a boo. I like boos. There ain't nothing better than a nice little old boo.
How about you, T-Gaines?
I gotta go for the cheers, because I'm a kid's kind of kid. When they're all cheering and hyping me up, seeing all their little bright faces, that's what fuels me.
I like shutting it down.
I think my favorite wrestlers, and this is no offense towards T-Gaines, but the ones who come out and just start ripping signs and just like go back to wherever, and those ones. Local wrestling events, indie wrestling events are if you've never been, you're missing out big time, because of, in the WWE, they play with the crowd and they want the pops and all of that good stuff, but you can't get as intimate as what you can in these settings, and that is the best part. And if you haven't been to a Wrestling Against Cancer yet, you absolutely need to.
Oh yeah, because like wrestling on TV, it's just like they're wrestling for the camera, and like wrestling around here and like local indie scenes, it's like they're wrestling in front of you. They're not wrestling really for the camera, so it's a whole different experience.
I love it.
Yeah, to me, independent guys, they try harder. They're trying to get to, like a college football player trying to get to the NFL. They're trying to get to that next big step. I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of good wrestlers on the independent scene. It's better than some of them in WWE.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it kind of different, or differs a little bit than, the rest of the sports world, right? Where there's kind of, there's only so long that you're going to be a pro athlete in a team sport, right? There's not, there's not necessarily college, there's not like there's college wrestling, but you know what I'm saying. There's not like a collegiate type system that's a feeder necessarily for the pros. And then that roster of WWE and AEW and some of the bigger name promotions isn't that big, and their careers can last a long time. So it is tougher. And so I definitely have to agree with you that there's a lot of talent out here in the Indies, out here, right here in Panama City, Northwest Florida, Alabama, all of that should absolutely be at the top of the top. But it's just one of those things. And to that, I say, take advantage of it. Fans, go out there and see this talent, because it's amazing. I remember the first time when I did the Wrestling Against Cancer, I wasn't even announcing or anything like I'll be doing this Saturday, or tomorrow evening rather, but getting in that ring, the first time I'd ever stepped in a ring, and then you're like,
whoa, man, I already knew anyways because my cousin, Ryan Holland, you know, but outside of that, it's like these falls ain't easy to take. And you find a whole new respect. I didn't have disrespect, but just a whole new respect of like, man, and then at the same time, you've got to make your moves flawless and you got to get the crowd into it. And it's just so many things that are going on. Like you said, your entrance to the ring is crucial, right? To the person that you are. What's your walkout song, Kelly Clark?
I have a custom-made theme song by the same person that made her theme song.
Let's go.
I had it inspired off of Shawn Michaels' theme song because he was one of my faves as well. So I had it inspired off of his theme song.
I love that, man. This is going to be such a fun event, y'all. 850-215-6290. It's going to be your last chance to win free tickets, but they can show up at the door, right? And the bell time is at 6:30, but the doors open at 5:30. And again, this is at Bay Haven Charter Academy, 2501 Hawks Landing Boulevard. What are you looking forward to in your match?
Well, I have been on one-on-one with Emily Logg many times. We've had triple threats together, but with Savannah, I haven't ever seen her, haven't ever worked with her, so it's very exciting. It's the unknown type feel, and stepping into both known and unknown grounds. And like we was talking about before with triple threats, there's a lot of leeway. There's a lot of things you can get by with. There's no rules, no count-outs. So it's going to be a very, very interesting night, and I'm very looking forward to it.
And I know we asked you this earlier, but it's been a while. So what are you looking forward to the most from your match?
Probably just
how long you gotta be in.
Probably just working the people, working the crowd. That's it. I just love the people.
I love it, man. This is great stuff. Again, this is going to be out there, Bay Haven Charter Academy tomorrow night, man. Y'all go ahead and get your tickets. And then again, also, we wanted to bring this up, right, Jack? That just because you don't buy tickets today or even tomorrow, there's still going to be a way that we can help Donna Duncan out. And you guys can send us checks. You can send us cash, and we'll make sure that it gets right back into the hands of Jack Patterson, who will help find its way to Donna Duncan. Because this, like you said, not one show. You could do 12 shows in a year. That's one a month, and it still wouldn't really put that big of a dent into the amount that it costs to battle against cancer, to wrestle against cancer. This is your local segment here. It's brought to you by Barbaritos, food, community, and people. Visit Barbaritos on 23rd Street and tell them that the Underdogs sent you. We had 6 South Walton High School athletes signed to the collegiate level on Thursday afternoon. That was yesterday. Great weather to be signing, contract or your scholarships there, because you wouldn't want to be outside practicing in the hailstorm. Gabe Hansen's going to be going to Thomas University for football. That's NAIA. Avery Shelton is going to Faulkner for baseball in the NAIA division. Haley Olive is going to Weber International Lacrosse. Ava Railton's heading to St. Elizabeth University volleyball. Kaylee Mitchell's going to University of Mobile soccer, and Natalie Denton's headed to Valdosta for soccer. That is D2. Mosley, Austin Carter, great wide receiver. He's going to be heading to Huntington College on a football scholarship. He's going to be playing receiver and might even play a little defense there. Asia Fingal is signing with Clemson on a track and field scholarship. She plans to run the 400-meter and the 400-meter hurdles. And with Fingal and Carter signing now, Mosley Athletics has 18 total athletes who have signed to the collegiate level for the class of 2023. And also have to give a shout out, since I wasn't here yesterday, to Will Smiley getting that done, going to the Naval Academy. He's going to be playing football for the Naval Academy, and that's going to be awesome because the final game of the year, as far as regular season goes, each and every year is the Army-Navy game. And so we're going to have one of our very own, Will Smiley from Bay High, in participating in that game. What else can we get into here, Jack? What's your overwhelming reason? I'll ask this to all three of you. The overwhelming reason why people should be at Wrestling Against Cancer 8.
To help Donna Duncan.
That is a great line. What about, all right, can we, even though that is the number one reason.
Jump in the ring and start a fight?
Yeah. There you go. Jump in the ring and start a fight and then get escorted. You'll get whooped pretty quick. I've seen some videos of people doing that in WWE, and it never ends well.
Stone Cold and Hunter, someone jumped in the ring with Triple H and Stone Cold and started attacking Stone Cold, and then Triple H just ragdolled the dude everywhere and beat the crap out of him. I think Kevin Owens, but Kevin Steen on the independent scene, there was this drunk dude. he slid underneath the ring, and like Kevin Owens just kicked him as hard as he could in the head, and the dude just dropped right there.
Collapse. I could only imagine like it happening in the WWE world, right? Like you got security, obviously. It's surprising that they even get past the security, but I think if that happened in an indie, you would see the locker room probably empty out, and then like. Yeah, that could be a trouble. Have you witnessed that before? Like fans?
Well, the thing is like there are like securities like at doors, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And at these big shows, they have security guards like right by the barricades, even like where the fans are. Like they're sitting on the outside of the cage, facing the fans, have backs towards the action the whole night. But at the indie level, you don't really see that. They're mainly like at the doors and such.
Yeah.
The knife story. When the APW with the knife story.
Yes, we had a huge feud going in Pensacola, and it got to the point like we were going at it in the ring, out of the ring, hollering at each other, throwing each other's merch table stuff over, getting each other's faces.
Not the merch tables.
Dude, when I threw her merch, there was so many women that were like, "You're a male narcissist" and all that.
The sexism getting involved. Yes,
and it was just crazy. And this fan walked up to her and said, "Here you go. This is to protect yourself." And he handed her a knife, and she was like, "Oh no, I can't, can't do that."
Well, back in my day, I had a knife pulled on me.
Oh God.
Good night, Jack.
Yeah.
Good night.
I made them so mad. I had to get in the ring because the referee said, "Get in the ring now," because once they come in the ring,
that's got to be such a. Oh, go ahead.
Once they come in the ring.
All fair game.
It's all fair game, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was saying. I could imagine the locker rooms emptying out, and then he just, instead of it being a king on top of the people's hands, it's a traitor, and he's getting thrown out into the parking lot. Oh, man, what a fun show today has been, but we are out of time. You've been listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. Come out to Wrestling Against Cancer 8 tomorrow night. You can meet Kelly Clark. You can meet T. Gaines. You can meet Jack Patterson. We're going to have a heck of a time. Coach James Hale Show is going to be back Monday. Ryan Mulvey and the Inside Drive also starting Monday at 11 a.m. and the Afternoon Underdogs will be right back here at 4 p.m. Y'all have a blessed weekend.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents
Wrestling Against Cancer, number 8.
Come see premier professional wrestling with the American Machine, Chief Little Bear, Mr. 850, and exciting women's wrestling with Raven Knight and T-Games. This Saturday, Wrestling Against Cancer number 8.
Number 8.
At the Bay Haven Charter Academy in Panama City. Doors open at 5:30, bell time 6:30. Proceeds benefit Donna Duncan.
More information, ESPNPC.com.
Take your next adventure in an eco-friendly all-electric Kia EV6 that gives you the movement that inspires. You can live fully charged while saving now and down the road on maintenance and fuel costs. You have to drive it really to believe it. Schedule a test drive today and explore the electrified Kia vehicles at Bill Burke